Welcome to Silicon Valley Asian Business Talk.
This is Roger Chen from University of San Francisco. Welcome, CT. Thank you for joining our interview program. So why don't you briefly introduce yourself?
Thank you for having me, Roger. My name is CheeTung, or CT, and I'm co-founder of EngageRocket. We've been running this company now for just over 6 years, and we build smart engagement tools for busy leaders. So it's AI-powered performance management and employee engagement analytics. We help companies like Toyota, Louis Vuitton, and other companies to build a workplace that encourages their people to want to give their best at work. So we serve mid-market companies globally across more than 20 industries and have analyzed over 10 million employee data points.
Discussion topic: Cautionary notes for successful startups.
So the next question is about your scaling up, because I kind of look at your company. You already had a very, very impressive kind of a growth track records. Could you share some wisdoms or lessons as you scale up or grow your business?
Yeah, I have 3 points that I like to make, and they may be a little bit generic, but I think they're worth sharing because I do keep finding myself coming back to these over and over again. So the first one is I call it empty your cup. It's a little bit like it's the Zen story, right? Where there's a student who goes to the master and he's pouring tea into his cup, and he just keeps pouring, and the cup keeps overflowing, and he can't take any more tea. And the lesson there is if you actually want to enjoy more tea, you have to empty your cup and accept more later on. And so as we keep growing, one of the things that I've realized is that it's very easy to feel like, okay, I've got it handled, right? I know what I'm doing. And very often I have to remind myself that in this space, we have to always approach it with a beginner's mind. Like, always imagine that I'm doing this for the first time, and what would I do? What makes the most sense? And learn as much as I can from there's so many different sources. But I speak, this may be very personal to me. I speak as a previous consultant, where as a consultant, there's a very high temptation to try and be the smartest person in the room. And even at, I was in my early 30s, whatever, I had to impress, these people that I was talking to. But I realized that as an entrepreneur, it's the opposite. If I'm the smartest person in the room, then I'm in trouble. It means I'm not surrounding myself with people that I can learn from, and people who know what they're doing more than I do. So that idea of emptying my cup is something that I have to keep coming back to. Every time we try something, even if I think that I know exactly what needs to be done, I have to kind of make sure that I pause and accept input, process it, and then say, okay, does this still make sense? If it does, okay, let's move forward. If not, let's, this new input, new situation, let's figure it out. The second thing that I think has served me well is to make sure that I get strategy right first before tactics. Because when we dive into the startup literature, there's an abundance of tactics. Everyone's writing about the latest growth hack that they've run, the latest SEO tip that they have, the latest product management tool that they've been using. And it's so easy to get distracted by all of these things that are running around. I'm a chief proponent of that. I like technology. I like new things. I like learning. So all these things, when they come up, I end up going to a rabbit hole. But even when it comes down to something as simple as running a good Facebook ad campaign or Instagram ad campaign, that can take weeks at the minimum, to learn how to do right. And unless you know that that's the right channel for you, investing that amount of time and effort into that tactic, it's not going to be worth it. So I think strategy first, meaning understanding the dynamics of the business, understanding, for example, things like just the unit economics, right? Like, what's the cost of acquisition that we can accommodate to acquire a new customer? How much do we think they're willing to pay? What is the way that this customer is going to continue to generate revenue for us? Are we going to go in immediately and deploy across the whole organization, or are we going to go in team by team and land and expand? And each of these come with different tactics. So being clear about what the strategy is first, before then trying to master the tactics, I think is something that I had to learn.
Very good.
Yeah, I mean, the last point maybe is also very generic. It's just finding ways to give back or pay it forward. In Chinese, they have this saying, right? 饮水思源. And when you're drinking from a stream or water, you have to remember where the source is. And so whatever success that I may or may not have today, it's all due to people that came before me, like our early customers, investors, team members that have invested a lot in this venture. And it's sometimes very tempting to imagine, I did all this myself. And you see that in the media a lot. And it's never true. It's never true. Like every successful person, they probably played maybe 20% of the role. Like everything else was a lot of other people. So making sure that some of these people I can never pay back enough. So I just have to remember them and remember to pay it forward to other founders and entrepreneurs down the line.
Actually, CT, that's a very good point. To me, your first point and last point had the same kind of a theme, which basically requires a successful entrepreneur to be humble, to be honest, right? Just understand the roots. So I think that's very interesting. But let me ask you about your last point. Just understand the root, being appreciative. But how does that kind of apply to, or how does that kind of change the behavior of entrepreneur? Maybe so people can, just to understand the connection between what they do versus this mindset, which I agree.
Yeah. It's a really good point. And for me, how that works out is I try to make, I actually have this list at the start of every year, a list of people that have helped me, so that I make sure to go back when it's like New Year's Day or whatever it is, just to, wish them Happy New Year or whatever it may be, and try to remember certain things from them, even if I never see them again or don't have a reason for working with them again. Make sure that I go back and thank them and acknowledge their contribution to what we've been building. The other thing that you can do is, if they've helped on something specific, like they gave product feedback at this time that you really needed it. 6 months down the line, just give them a call. Hey, Roger, thanks for sharing your feedback. This is how it's panned out. This is where we are today. And this is thanks to you. I really want to appreciate you for that. So, I mean, that's something that I definitely don't do enough of. And I'm trying to be a little bit more systematic about that. But it's so often, it's easy to get into this hustle culture mentality that we just forget everybody that's helped us along the way. And I don't know, it's not good for the soul. And it's also not good for business. I don't make this about how do you extract more from your network, but people who have helped you once are more likely to help you again if they know that you genuinely value that connection. So I mean, it is good for business, but at the same time, it's really good for the soul. And at least for me, I feel like it's something I must do, right? You just have to do.
Thank you for watching.